ready to get a little bit frugal with us.
Always up for that.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive
Okay.
into the world of our frugal.
Right.
And it's fascinating because it's not just about like pinching pennies. It's
Yeah.
about the mindset, the tips, the anxieties,
Right.
the solutions that people are coming up with to navigate, this crazy world of personal finance.
It really is like a window into how people are experiencing the economy, like what matters to them right now.
Totally.
What are they worried about? Where
Yeah.
are they finding those little wins?
And you know what?
Yeah.
It's amazing what you find
Would you see?
just from like looking at one day's worth of posts.
Oh,
I mean, we're talking everything from car insurance woes,
oh yeah.
which is like a big one these days,
Okay.
to people agonizing over
Yeah.
like finding a hoodie
Oh, yeah.
that'll actually last more than one season.
The eternal quest.
Right.
Buy it for life.
It's the little things.
It is.
So to kick things off,
Okay.
I thought we could dive into some of the big ticket anxieties
Right.
that seem to be on everyone's minds right now.
Yeah, the stuff that like really hits your wallet hard.
Exactly like housing, transportation.
Oh, yeah.
Those essential costs you can't just avoid.
Right, right.
And one post that really stood out to me
What was that?
was this person whose car insurance had more than doubled.
Oh, no.
They went from like $400 for a 6-month premium to over $1,000.
Wow.
I mean, that's a significant jump.
That's a huge chunk of change.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder,
It does.
like, what is causing these insane increases?
Well, there's a few things, actually.
Okay.
For one, we've got accident rates going up after the pandemic.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then you've got supply chain issues
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
driving up the cost of repairs.
Right.
And on top of that, you've got things like extreme weather,
Yeah, true.
which can lead to more claims.
So it's not just, insurance companies being greedy.
Well, there's probably an element of that in some cases.
Right, of course.
But it is a very complex issue.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those rising costs get passed on to us, the consumers.
And it's getting to the point where some people are considering some pretty drastic measures.
Yeah, like what?
I saw people talking about getting rid of their cars altogether.
Wow.
Really?
That's a big decision.
But even then, like, public transport isn't always an option.
Right. It depends so much on where you live.
Yeah, and what you do for work.
So for someone facing these sky-high insurance premiums,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them?
Well, first off, don't just automatically renew that policy.
Oh, good point.
Shop around.
Right.
Compare rates from different companies.
I feel like a lot of people just let that auto-renew happen.
It's so easy to do,
Right.
but you might be surprised at the variations you find.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, look into any discounts you might qualify for.
Like what kind of discounts?
Well, there's things like safe driver programs, bundling with other policies, or even low mileage discounts if you're not driving as much these days.
Those are really good to know.
Definitely worth looking into.
And speaking of unavoidable expenses,
Tell me more.
the housing market is another big one.
Oh, tell me about it.
One post that really resonated with me.
Was about a user-facing eviction
Oh, no.
because their family decided to sell the property.
Wow.
And it just highlights how even if you're not a homeowner,
Right.
you're not immune to these crazy market fluctuations.
It's a tough situation for renters
It is.
because you're kind of at the mercy of landlords in the market.
Exactly. And it just underscores this larger issue of affordable housing,
Absolutely.
right? Like you've got stagnant wages,
Yep.
rising property
That's
values,
perfect storm.
and then a shortage of affordable options.
Exactly.
So it's a recipe for financial stress for a lot of people.
It really is. And it's a problem that's not going away anytime soon.
So what can renters do to protect themselves?
Well, knowledge is power.
That's true.
Familiarize yourself with your local tenant laws.
Oh, okay.
Know your rights and what options you have if your landlord decides to sell or jack up the rent.
That's a good point because it's easy to feel powerless in those situations.
Absolutely. But knowing your rights is a good first step.
Are there any resources you recommend for renters who might be facing these challenges?
Oh, for sure. Organizations like the National Low-Income Housing Coalition and the Tenant Rights Union are great places to start.
Check your
They offer valuable information and sometimes even legal aid.
That's so important.
It really is.
Don't be afraid to reach out for help if you need it.
Exactly. You don't have to go through this alone.
It's tough out there.
It is.
But you know what I find really inspiring
What's that?
is the resourcefulness of our frugal community.
Oh, yeah.
Like even when they're facing these big financial anxieties,
Right.
they're still finding ways to make things work.
Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
that make do and mend spirit.
Exactly.
That's very practical.
And speaking of making things work,
Yeah.
there are some seriously genius hacks on that subreddit.
Like what?
Well, someone posted about freezing leftover pizza slices to avoid waste.
Oh, that's a classic.
Why didn't I think of that?
Right.
So simple, but so smart,
And it ties into that bigger idea of reducing food waste.
which is good for the planet and the wallet.
Exactly. You're saving money and helping the environment.
And it's not just about those like individual hacks.
Right.
It's the collective brainstorming that happens in the comments.
Oh, yeah, like what?
So one parent was asking for ideas to use up leftover string cheese.
Okay, I've been there.
Haven't we all?
Totally.
And people were suggesting everything from adding it to soups to like making little lunchbox skewers with it.
It's like a virtual recipe swap,
Right.
but with a frugal twist.
Exactly.
I like it.
And that's what makes these online communities so valuable.
Definitely.
It's that sense of
Rise it.
shared experience.
Right.
Like we're all in this
Or
together.
totally, you don't feel so alone.
And speaking of being in it together,
Yeah.
our Frugal is a goldmine for buy it for life recommendations.
Oh, yeah, those are the best.
I saw tons of posts about durable backpacks
Important.
and hoodies.
Oh, yeah.
Those things that always seem to fall apart way too quickly.
It's all about the quality.
Right. Investing in something that will last.
Exactly, because sometimes spending a little more upfront
Yeah,
can save you a ton of money in the long run.
it's true.
It's about thinking long term.
But how do you know what's actually worth investing in?
That's the tricky part.
Because it feels like every brand claims to be durable these days.
They do.
So how do you cut through the marketing hype?
Well, research is key.
Okay.
Read reviews, look for independent testing.
Right.
For backpacks, specifically.
Yeah.
Brands like Osprey and Patagonia are known for their durability.
Okay, good to know.
And look for things like reinforced stitching,
Oh, yeah, that's a good tip.
quality zippers,
Uh-huh.
and durable materials like Cordura fabric.
Okay, so you're speaking my language.
A little bit.
Have you ever, like, fallen for the allure of a cheap but poorly made item?
Maybe.
We've all been there.
It's true. I think we learn from those mistakes, though.
We do. We do.
Hopefully.
So it's not always easy, though, right?
No, it's not.
Especially with all the sales and new product launches.
It's hard to resist that temptation.
It is. And it brings up this interesting point about frugality.
That's that.
Like, where's the line between being frugal and denying yourself things that bring you joy?
That's a really good question.
Because I saw this post where someone was debating
Yeah.
whether or not to upgrade their iPhone,
Right.
even though their current one was still working fine.
I've been there.
Right. Like, is that being frugal or just holding on for the sake of it?
It's tough because technology is so tempting,
It is.
and there's always something new and shiny.
Always.
But I think it comes down to this.
What's that?
Ask yourself, will this purchase add real value to my life?
Okay. Yeah.
Or am I just chasing that dopamine hit of something new?
That's a good way to put it.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype.
It is.
But sometimes the most frugal thing you can do is appreciate what you already have.
That's a good point.
And you know what I loved about that iPhone post?
What's that?
Was the honesty in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
People were sharing their own struggles with upgrade temptations.
It's relatable.
It really is.
And it just shows you
What's that?
that you're not alone in these dilemmas.
Exactly. We're all figuring it out together.
And sometimes, just knowing that other people get it
Yeah,
can be a huge relief.
totally. It's like you're not the only one struggling with these things.
Exactly. And it's not just about the shared struggles. It's about celebrating the wins together, too.
Oh, for sure. Those little victories can feel huge.
Like one user was over the moon about sticking to their budget for a whole month.
Nice.
And the comments were just filled with congratulations and support.
That's awesome because it's easy to get discouraged when you're trying to be frugal.
Totally. But seeing someone else succeed,
Yeah.
it can be really motivating.
It reminds you that it's possible.
Exactly. And sometimes you just need that little push.
For sure, we all need that support system.
And speaking of support,
Yeah, tell me more.
one post that made me laugh
Okay, what was it?
was this person desperately searching for cheap and easy soup recipes.
Oh, I've been there.
Right. Totally. Like the ultimate frugal comfort food.
It is.
But sometimes you just run out of ideas.
Or you're trying to make it stretch.
Exactly. And the best part was
What's that?
the community totally delivered.
Oh, nice. What kind of suggestions did they have?
People were sharing tips on finding affordable ingredients at farmers markets,
Good idea.
talking about bulk buying strategies,
It's a frugal move.
even posting their own tried and true budget soup recipes.
That's awesome because it's like having a whole network of frugal foodies at your fingertips.
Exactly. It's like a crowdsourced cookbook.
Right.
But for people who actually understand budgeting.
Exactly. No fancy ingredients here.
And speaking of resourcefulness, There were some great threads on finding free local resources.
Oh, that's a good one because there are often so many things available in our communities
Right.
that we don't even know about.
Like libraries and parks and community events.
Exactly, and free workshops.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Sometimes you just have to know where to look.
It's so true, and it also takes that pressure off of always having to buy new stuff.
Totally. It's about being creative and resourceful.
Right, and the DIY Halloween costume thread was another goldmine.
Oh, nice. Those can get expensive,
Tell me about it.
especially if you have kids
Oh, yeah.
who suddenly want to be something different every year.
Right. But seeing people come up with these clever costumes
Yeah,
using stuff they already had around the house
that's awesome.
is really inspiring.
It reminds you that you don't need to spend a fortune to have fun.
Exactly. It's about the creativity and the memories.
Absolutely.
But sometimes, even with the best intentions,
Yeah.
we can get caught up in those, like, too good to be true deals.
Oh, tell me about it.
Like, one user was venting about their Walmart Plus subscription,
Okay.
how they thought it would save them money, but it actually ended up costing them more in the long run.
That's so frustrating.
It is, and it just goes to show you,
What's that?
even with things that are marketed as budget-friendly,
Yeah,
you really have to do your research.
absolutely. Read the fine print.
Look for those hidden costs.
Because sometimes those deals aren't really deals at all.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of our frugal,
Yeah.
what have we learned?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for me
Yeah,
is that frugality is about so much more than just being cheap.
it really is.
It's about community resourcefulness, conscious consumption.
Making the most of what you have.
Exactly, and finding creative solutions to everyday challenges.
And sometimes it's even about challenging those ingrained ideas we have about what it means to live a good life.
It's true. We live in a society that constantly tells us we need more, more, more.
It does, but maybe sometimes it's about finding contentment and joy in what we already have.
And appreciating the little things.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe that's the real key to frugal living.
I think so.
So to our listeners, we challenge you this week.
I like it.
Find one area of your life where you can embrace that frugal mindset,
It could be something small.
or some big,
Just a little shift in perspective.
and see how it feels, because you might be surprised at the sense of empowerment and control it brings.
And who knows? You might even discover some hidden talents and resources you never knew you had.
That's a great point. So until next time, stay frugal, friends.
And resourceful